All right, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the White Bear Town Board for, what date do we got here? May 20th?
Yep.
To order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I understand we have some, just actual, let's see, we have
Yes,
consent agenda items added and a supplement.
yes, we've got, under consent, item 5E, there is a change to, or from West Bald Eagle Boulevard to just Bald Eagle Boulevard, and the resolution was redrafted for your approval. And also under consent, we have 5I, the Bald Eagle Yacht Club will be making an annual request for a sailing course on Bald Eagle Lake. 5J, a records retention resolution. And 5K, special town board meeting for a joint park board, town board meeting on June 20th, 2019.
There was some discussion this afternoon about items 8A and B. Tom, are we going to just delete those?
Okay, continue those to your next meeting.
Table.
Those to the planning commission for review.
So we're taking 8A and B off?
Yeah, I think those should really go to the planning commission before we look at them. So we're deleting A and B.
Tabling
Table.
Sorry.
to planning commission, yeah.
When were those applications made? How long ago?
I don't think it's been 30 days.
30, less than 30 days?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then.
We're okay with the time.
Yeah, we're okay then.
And planning commission meets Thursday.
Perfect.
With those additions, Mr. Chair, I would submit to you the approved agenda.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda with the additions of items, well, the revised consent, item 5E, the added consent agenda items 5I, J, and K, and the tabling of 8A and B.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of payment of the bills.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? That motion carries. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes of the May 8th, 2019. I only found one, and I had talked to Patrick about it. It said, instead of one way, it said none way.
I did see that.
And that was in your statement, Steve, so I didn't.
Oh,
I thought, well, nobody can use the road, it's a none way.
I didn't read my statement.
Problem solved.
I meant to bring this up, but I did notice that in last meeting's minutes, we approved the minutes of April 2018,
Ah,
which,
Okay, that is inaccurate. Although we did approve those last year,
Yeah, but it should be noted that,
2019.
yes.
Details, details.
all right, with those corrections, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? All right, item number 5, consent agenda item. Yeah, you'll be here for a while.
It's pretty lengthy. All right, item 5A, conditional use permit request at 3 Oaks of White Bear Township. Call a public hearing for Monday, June 3rd, 2019 at 7 PM to consider a conditional use request to modify the landscaping plan.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'm sorry, Scott, I'll give you a minute to breathe. Check with you. We did make a correction to the resolution under, in consent 5E. Do we need to pull that officially as, because it was changed?
I don't believe so. It's a
No.
typographical error.
Okay,
No, you can just approve as amended.
okay, thanks, sorry. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Item 5B, a special town board meeting. Call a special town board meeting for Friday, June 14th, 2019, beginning at 4:30 PM to attend the Manitou Days Grand Parade. Item 5C, 2 side yard setback variance requests at 2630 South Shore Boulevard. Call a public hearing for Monday, June 3rd, 2019 at 7 PM to consider 2 5-foot side yard setback variance requests. Item 5D, administrative driveway variance. In accordance with the town ordinance number 35, section 963 sub E, and based on staff review and recommendation and approval, ratify the town clerk's issuance of an administrative driveway variance at 1630 Highway 96 East. Item 5E, Bald Eagle Boulevard. Adopt a resolution ending discussion of a one-way parkway on Bald Eagle Boulevard and approve the press release.
Yep.
I think we need to pull press release approval. We are not going to do that. We got enough coverage.
All right, that doesn't mean pulling it off consent, just means omitting it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to restate that?
Yeah, I would amend, restate it, yeah,
All right.
with the deletion.
Item 5E, amended. Bald Eagle Boulevard. Adopt a resolution ending discussion of a one-way parkway on Bald Eagle Boulevard. Item 5F, White Bear Lake Conservation District 2018 Financial Report. Based on the Finance Officer review and recommendation, receive and accept the 2018 financial report of the White Bear Lake Conservation District. Item 5G, right-of-way permit. Based on town engineer review and recommendation, and including his recommended conditions, approve XL Energy permit to install underground gas service for the residents at 5642 Aspen Lane, including directional boring. Item 5H, construction activity report, receive. Item 5I, Bald Eagle Yacht Club, annual request for sailing course on Bald Eagle Lake. Notify the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office Water Patrol Unit and the applicant of the township's approval of the 2019 Bald Eagle Yacht Club sailing course on Bald Eagle Lake. Item 5J, records retention resolution. Adopt a resolution adopting the Minnesota General Records Retention Schedule for the town of White Bear. Item 5K, special town board meeting. Call a special joint park board town board meeting for Thursday, June 20th, 2019 at 5:30 PM to attend the annual park tour. Did I cover it all?
Sounds good to me.
Nice job, Scott.
Consent agenda's been motioned. Do I have a second?
Second, with the changes and additions.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion carries. Moving on, item 6 is old business. We just have one, the administrative office upgrades.
Yep, Mr. Chair, what you'll see in your packet is a revised plan for the administrative offices, 1281 Hammond, based upon the comments that you gave us at last month's, or our first meeting of the month. If anybody's got any questions about that or further suggestions, I'm here to take them from you. Otherwise, if we're good with it, part of SEH's proposal to us was to not only construct the plans for administrative offices, but to also kind of play point for us in soliciting bids for that work, as well as our overall capital improvement plan at Township Hall.
Steve, you got anything?
The one question, so the plans, they leave open the options for sliding glass, half glass, full glass, and they're going to solicit it number of different ways.
A number
for
of
us?
different ways, see what we get, yep.
Okay. And so, just so I'm clear, when we're talking these plans, those doors that come in from the lobby, or
Yep.
from the front door into the lobby,
Yep,
those are going to be some form of access doors that are controlled?
that is correct.
Okay.
Key fobs.
Key fobs, all right. And we made the change to make that a room versus a storage closet, right?
Yep, and we doubled the
behind them.
space.
So,
We would also add in a window.
I'd asked to add in a window facing towards the lobby,
Oh, that's a good
especially if
idea.
the sheriff's station is in
Yep.
there. He can
Yep.
see
Oh.
into the lobby. It doesn't even have to be an operator, just a piece of glass.
so was it like over in
Yeah,
this
somewhere
area?
in this area.
Okay.
And I'd also like to see that these two doors are glass, so it feels a little more open.
Yep.
When they're
Yeah,
shut.
that's,
Otherwise, it's gonna feel kind of concealed.
yeah.
We did make that request, that will be part of the bid.
Okay.
Now, you got anything else?
The only question I had is the key fob for the entry doors, is that for after hours? That's not during the day, is it?
No,
Okay,
not during the day.
okay. That was all I had.
No, it looks good.
So we will, like I said, we will submit this plan with the overall capital improvement plan for our administrative offices here. I'll make the call tomorrow if there's no further.
Well, I guess now I'm thinking about it, these
Uh-oh.
two doors going east and west,
Yes,
are they electronically controlled also?
yes.
Okay.
As well.
That's the ones I was talking about. That
Oh, I thought you meant these.
No, I went those side doors as they're key fobbed.
Okay.
But Scott brought up the front entry, and that has to remain open during
It
business
does,
hours.
right.
Yeah. But that won't unlock, we're planning not to have all doors unlocked, those side doors that we,
Correct,
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
We also we'll also have a panic button installed for our front desk as well.
Okay.
Do we need to reference that existing restroom?
That, the plan was, and if Dale were here, he would talk about it. Our plan is, since it has not been used for years, we're gonna have Public Works take out most of the restroom equipment in there, and that will be an office supply storage locker.
And one other question on the restrooms themselves. As they exist today, do they meet ADA requirements?
Yes, they do, actually.
Okay, so we don't have to, we're not looking at
Bathrooms can stay
modifications.
Bathrooms can stay the same.
Okay, good. Right,
All right, any other suggestions? All right, so then they'll be able to take those and go into a full set of working plans?
Yes. You also will see in your packet here later on, we've got language for our landscaping at the administrative offices as well. So we got a busy summer at 1281 Hammond. So,
Well, that too, and I'd be interested to see how long it's gonna take, how disruptive it's gonna be for us. Otherwise, you don't need any formal action on this, it's just.
I don't, just
Okay.
looking for input.
All right, anything else?
one other, Ed, what about, and Pat, lighting? Are we satisfied with the way, if we're, are we gonna have to change any lighting patterns in this?
I don't think so, just because the skylights will remain unimpeded, and the walls that we are suggesting to be built are only gonna go up about 8.5 feet.
Yeah, so it's still
So-
got overview.
So you got still, yeah, a decent overview and lighting coming through there.
And as it exists today, the lighting, I mean, if we're gonna remodel, we better make sure we've covered all of our bases as far as need. The current lighting scheme that exists in the building, is it satisfactory for the staff?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is that something that has to be upgraded maybe to LED?
Oh,
Well, a couple reasons, I know it's a little more expensive to start with, but energy
Yeah,
costs, and it's way better lighting.
yeah, that's, you know what? I'm gonna add that as part of this. That's a good idea.
And do we have motion?
Good job.
And are all of our lighting areas controlled by motion? So that they,
Not the common areas, no, just the offices are controlled by motion.
okay,
Talking motion, does that affect the security system in the building? Or is there anything have to be modified because of that? Besides these additions of electronic doors and,
I guess we'll have to find that one out.
Okay.
Sure.
so you and the staff will get together to talk about what all the needs are and then get it ready for,
You bet.
send out for proposal? Alrighty.
all right, sounds good. We're way overdue. And obviously, we need paint and carpet, but
Yeah.
this is the time to do this kind of remodel before that happens.
And we were under the impression too, that we were going to have to arrange for storage off premise or outside. They've got equipment that elevates everything, so that we're not gonna have to move anything outside. We were a little concerned about that, but it
Maybe
sounds
cabinet
like,
files and all that stuff?
yeah. So,
Well, we are in the 21st century.
yes.
All right, looking forward to seeing the end result on this.
So this will be a good project.
Oh, just one last comment. Several times over the last couple of years, we've talked about hooking in backup generators and things. It will, I don't want to remodel and find out we got to bust up walls if we're overdue for having.
This would be strictly on the mechanical room area.
Okay, as long as we keep that in mind, that it's all there, good, done.
Okay. Let's see, item number 7, public hearing.
You don't want me to highlight where we're putting the hot tub and barbecue?
Yeah.
No?
You think it's necessary?
Maybe we'll just do it, then I'll show you.
No, I'll
Yeah, don't.
bite my tongue.
All right, it's been a while since we haven't had a public hearing. So item number 8, new business. We're tabling A and B, so we'll move on to 8C. Joe and Charlotte Mott, 3949 East County Line. Request for a second driveway access. Is this you, Tom?
All right, well, this looks better on cable TV, but Motts are down on East County Line, the south side of White Bear Lake. They have the property at 3949 East County Line, driveway access onto East County Line Road, right here. Long property, actually abuts the Efris Road right-of-way on the west side. Efris Road in this area is just a short stub that leads to the town's water tower. 2 driveway accesses off of Efris north. This is Martin Way right here. Motts, again, have a driveway access right here, but they would like to add a second access off of Efris in this location right here, so they could park a camper during the off-season. Several notes relative to this proposal. You can see Efris Road is a full right-of-way up to the Mott property, and then it's a half right-of-way. So this 30 feet has actually been dedicated from these 2 properties here. There's been no right-of-way dedication from the properties fronting on East County Line right here. It's not to say they can't access the right-of-way in this location right here. It's just a little bit narrower. Contacted our Public Works Department, specifically the snowplow truck driver in that area down there. Wanted to make sure whatever is done, if it's permitted to have the second driveway, that we can accommodate some snow storage, which sometimes goes beyond the right-of-way there, probably in the form of an easement or some type of an agreement to allow some snow storage there. Switch plans here, which is okay, we'll work the way down here. So this is the access East County Line Road. Existing driveway with the home. See the garage in this area right here. There's really no reasonable access to the rear yard for a vehicle on either side of the home here. So what they're proposing, again off of Efris Road on the northerly portion of the property there, would be to construct a driveway and a parking pad initially, with plans long-term for a good-sized storage structure there. You can see the setback is proposed at 20 feet for that garage. Had some discussion with the Motts on site there. Let them know that a structure like a garage would have to be set back to meet 35 feet. That's a future plan for them, so they're aware of the setback requirement, and I believe they can work with that. The other thing I pointed out, again, is because they're currently on East County Line Road, which is a county road, really no access or use at all of Efris Road. But if they were to tap a driveway and parking area onto Efris Road, likely would open them up to assessment when that road is redone in the future. Again, we mentioned that, so there could be a cost for that. For a second driveway, regulated by Section 529 of Ordinance Number 8, does permit a second driveway, but it's based on town board approval. So they're here tonight seeking town board approval to add that second driveway.
Tom, can you put the other sheet up there, the lot, explain, go to the parking pad, the new parking pad, explain the issue with the snow plowing coming up the road?
That's what I was interested in.
Yeah, what happens, maybe I'll put this one next to it.
Or can you sketch on that one?
Scribble on this one here.
I've been up that road, but it's been a while, so.
Yeah, it's basically the road comes in, it's double wide here, and then it comes into a narrow lane right here. So the snow gets plowed here, but at this point, there's really not much snow storage on the east side of the road there.
Well, so is Public Works pushing it all the way to the end then?
Well, maybe
Towards the water tower?
might be better off explaining that than I am. But yeah, this is the access driveway to the tower up here, so it does get plowed all the way up here.
And what
My
did they do this
understanding.
past winter?
Tower.
But, excuse me, if you want to come up to the podium, at least give your name and address,
Thank you.
so the audience can at least hear what you're saying.
Joe Mott, my wife Charlotte here also, we're the homeowners at 3949 East County Line. And so we've made the application for the approval of a second driveway access to access the rear of the property. As Tom stated, we don't have reasonable access to the back half of the property because the house and garage structures are built out pretty much to the setback, side yard setback requirements, so there's no way to make a drive to get to the back of the property. Our challenges are, initially, because we don't have access for landscaping or tree removal or the like, we have difficulty accessing the property. You have to remove a fence to get in there at all. But we've had a desire to put a parking pad back there so that we can do the off-season parking of a motorhome. The front of the property accommodates that because the township regulations requires just so many months of the year that you can park on a driveway or adjacent to a driveway in the front yard. But it does allow year-round access to rear yard. We just don't have reasonable access to the back half of the property. The way the property is set up, the fence or the gate for the water tower, I think is set a bit of an angle. You can see it right at the barrier, the 3949 Efris property. Yeah, there it is. It's set off at an angle. So when snow removal is done, typically the snow is banked on the east side of the road. We have a fence there, chain link fence that's set back about 5 foot from the pavement, and that tends to be a reasonable amount of accommodation of snow. We know and recognize that if it's plowed in that fashion, if we have a gate there opposite the driveway for 3949 Efris, that snow would likely bank up against our gate. We have no objection to that because it's only really a seasonal access requirement for us.
So you wouldn't be
We
moving in and
wouldn't
out of
be
there in the winter
moving in
anyway.
and out of there in the winter.
Especially after this last
was
winter,
gonna
there had to be a lot of snow there.
And we recognize if we had to get in there for a purpose of maintenance, that we'd have to remove the snow.
Well, right now, Public Works wasn't removing snow, they were just storing it there, right? Or did they have to actually?
I don't find that it banks unusually high. I mean, not compared to anything, because it's such a narrow roadway, it doesn't generate that much snow. And there's a fairly good-sized margin there that banks the snow today, and we don't consider it to be an issue. The fact that as Tom indicated, that fence and gate for the water tower is angled toward the north, most of the snow tends to be stored in that pie-shaped area north of our property line. So there's a fair amount of space there that snow is banked, and that property there similarly has no access to the Efris extension.
How's the grade there? I mean, you're not changing any of the grade? You're pretty flat there?
At the peak of the hill, we are flat there. In the lower portion there, it grades away rapidly. Where it gets to be down the full width there, that drop is, maybe 6 feet or more. It banks away quite strongly from the middle of our property to the south, but the topmost part of it is pretty much on a common grade.
And this could be an asphalt driveway? Or
No,
class five?
a permeable, probably a crushed granite.
So either way, you'd probably still have to work with the building inspector to make sure you're not creating a runoff issue for one of your neighbors because of if you're making that, even class 5, sometimes it tends to shed away. So I'm sure.
True, but we would be we would be in the north third of the property with that permeable paving, and it's treed area leading down toward the the full width version.
Well, most of
it
your runoff will
access.
stay on the property.
And there also is a storm drain at that,
Okay.
where that corner is there.
Steve, you got any question?
No, I think you've asked the questions about the driveway itself. My only real question and dilemma is the agreement to provide area for snow storage in winter and or easement if required, only from the standpoint that if you may be well acceptable to have that, but, there's no, it sells the property, we may have an issue. So I guess my question, how do we deal with that? Do we have to come up to a formal agreement for the snow?
Which is some of them are all along there. When they plow, they haven't been plowing the snow off on that 5 or 6 foot strip.
No misunderstanding.
And because we're gonna remove those, that's gonna give them an added area.
More
that the
area,
snow-
okay. So
snow-
my wife makes the point that we've had lilac bushes along that fence line, so the snow removal tends to avoid those by pushing the snow further up there. We're gonna remove those lilac bushes so that actually gives additional area for snow storage along the full length of that property line.
A lot of the bushes are dying, so we were, this year, going to be having them completely removed, which would give, a 5 or 6 foot strip of land right by the curb, the full length of the
So is that
property.
outside the fence or inside? You
It's
mentioned
outside
the
of the
fence. It's
fence.
outside of the fence.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Tom, is
that
that-
normally hasn't been a place where they could put much snow.
Technically, that part of their property, is that part of the right-of-way or not? Or is that, there an easement there?
Outside the
You know
fence.
what? We looked at the stake there, and as I recall, the fence was inside the stake, so that's right-of-way where you're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah,
about.
the stake is
Well,
right at the
the snow's
T
being
there.
piled on the right-of-way anyway.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
well,
just
that's-
getting close there.
So they're just cleaning it up for easier
All right.
push of
Yeah,
the snow.
so all that snow can go along the whole back of the property line.
Well, we're just concerned, as long as it stays on the right-of-way, the township has the right to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it goes on the private property and it gets to be an issue, then,
Well, it wouldn't be an issue for us, but
no,
I
but
mean,
somebody down the road would want me to get
Oh.
one.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that there'd be that much snow that they wouldn't be able to push it all outside. It's only a single lane road.
Sure. But the township has a long history beyond where you may be there, and I just want to make sure that, we're not opening up a dilemma, saying, they said we can push the snow there, and then find out that it is a problem. Is there a way to come to an agreement that we can do that? I mean, I have no problem with the driveway, and I would like to see an opportunity to have our snow, so it's not an issue. But do we have to do anything more formal than?
Well, I don't know, Chad, with our minutes on this, stating that most of the snow is stockpiled on the easement, is that good enough?
Yeah, I think it is. And I'd be concerned about conditioning an approval on an easement. I don't think that's the proper way to go about it, but the way it's been described, snow's gonna go on the right-of-way, right-of-way belongs, the town has the right to use the right-of-way, so I think you're fine.
Okay.
Then I have no questions. I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Tom, obviously, it's a pretty big lot, so this doesn't affect any green space or, because if it's not pervious, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah, so that's not an issue.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval?
Sure. I'll make a motion based on staff review and recommendations and in accordance with, ordinance number 8, section 529L. Approve the construction of a second driveway to the property at 3949 East County Line Road, noting the property owners, will provide an area for snow storage in the winter if it's required, or
I think the minutes will
I think-
reflect that.
yeah. I think with the change of the easement, probably is plenty. So I'll make it without that last little caveat. How's that?
So we're going to strike that last
Yeah, I
section.
think we'll just just leave it at East County Line Road.
All right, motion's made, do I have a second?
I will approve the amended motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? There you go, folks, good luck.
Good luck.
All right, moving on, item D, comp plan consulting services. Larry, you gonna do this?
Nope.
No, I got it. Larry's done his part. Larry and TKD have done their part. They're doing their part. Correspondence from Metropolitan Council. Currently, our Comprehensive Plan 2040 version is at the Met Council for review. We have wrapped up our review, and the plan that we have proposed is in their hands now to review it. They have suspended their review, sending us a letter saying there's several items that they find outstanding. They'd like us to complete those items before and revise the plan accordingly before they'll pick up review again. So the letter from the consultant we've been using, HKGI, proposes an amount not to exceed $10,000 to complete the proposal. Since that time, TKDA had some assignments to do, and they have provided the information, so I think that proposal is going to be something in the neighborhood of $5,000, no more than $5,000 for them to complete the checklist. So staff is requesting town board approval to provide an additional let's say $5,000 to $7,000 for additional funding to finish up the comprehensive plan as submitted.
Now, what's this bring our total up to? Seems like this got way out of hand. Didn't we originally have something like 50 budgeted? I don't remember the exact numbers.
I don't either. I'd have to take a look. Want me to do that?
Well, we need to kind of get a handle on this for next time. So,
Oh, I guess that's a great question. This happens once every 10 years?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So was there this degree of feedback and clarification needed the last time?
I didn't recall as much, no.
seems like this kind of caught us off guard. I thought all this was taken care of.
Yeah, they're very detailed comments coming back, pages of them. Historically, it's not been that detailed or that many pages.
And this is the pre-review.
Well, this is
had the
how much of,
pre-review.
this is the review, I would
Yes,
say.
they're in
They
the-
said they stopped reviewing it until we do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the hammer to say that you need to do these, or it won't go any further.
But what's to say? I mean,
There's nothing to say that, I bet.
Maybe what Scott's trying to say is that, okay, so they've held up on all review until we've addressed these. Are we gonna get more now that they're gonna go through?
Our expectations would be no,
Okay.
because the list that they sent was similar to a previous list. The preliminary review tweaked a few things, and then this letter came back.
So this is the second preliminary review. Okay.
Yeah,
I want to say
working our way to the intermediate
I
review.
think the budget was 37.5.
Okay, thank you.
I know we're over that, because we already
Yeah,
had
because
a,
we've already
already-
approved one extension and a little bit of additional funding, so this would be the second, and hopefully the last.
So kind of the squishy number, you went between 5 and 75, or 7, so it's down from the 10 that you're looking at?
Yes, I would
So
say
would
no
you
more
say
than 7.
seven?
Not to exceed 7 would be good.
Because I think in her letter, the consultant's letter, she thought I thought I saw that someplace in here. She thought the range, if TKDA did their work, it would move to the 7, more towards the 7 range. So, we have to go forward with this, so we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, but I would prefer to have some latitude in case this thing morphs a little bit more, so he doesn't have to bring it back for another $1,000 or $2,000. I'd prefer to just say 10, up to, not to exceed 10.
Gotcha.
it's really frustrating. These are unfunded mandates that they keep pounding on us, and we don't have this in the budget. We gotta keep coming up with money for this.
Yes, that is a true statement. Met Council has a lot of power.
They do, and the funding source for this would be general fund reserves.
And I don't even wanna, give them another option here, but it seems to me there's what page am I on here? They talk about, on page 60, they're talking about, copy of intercommunity service agreements between North Oaks, Lionel Lakes, and White Bear Lake. Don't we have one with Birchwood?
Yeah, we do have that now.
How come it's not listed in here?
Maybe we didn't
Which I
tell
probably
them.
shouldn't have said that now.
Yes.
Added another word, that's another
Go
one.
ahead, there's another chunk
Okay,
of
there's another
change.
$10,000.
It could be the fact that Birchwood is simply a maintenance contract versus North Oaks and
JPA.
Lino Lakes, which are JPAs and are actual water supply contracts.
Good, perfect answer.
Perfect answer, I like that.
Do you want to see Jim, Mike?
Tom, I hate to give you more money than you want, but I know we have to move forward with this, and I'd like to have it not to exceed. So I'd like to make the motion on staff review and recommendation, approve the additional compensation to HKG, Wesington Kogler and Group, Inc., in an amount not to exceed the $10,000 to complete this 2040 comprehensive plan and get it submitted to the Met Council. Hoping that it'll come in at 7.
Or less.
Work for you, Scott?
Sure.
All right, is that a formal motion there?
It is.
I'll formally second it.
Motion's made, second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
Spend our money wisely.
all right, item 8E, Brandlewood Park upgrades. That must be you, Tom.
That's me again, yeah, that's our park project this year, is a redo of the Brandlewood Park, primarily the playground at Brandlewood Park. Park Board has been working, solicited proposals for bids to local playground equipment suppliers to redo the playground at Brandlewood Park. Solicited proposals, we only received one, and have been working with Northland Recreation, who provided that proposal over the last month. That has been reviewed by the Park Board. They made some recommendation to modify a couple of things.
Tom, can you just give the address of the park? Do you have it? Just for audience.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it quick. 5800 Meadowview Drive.
Which, those who aren't familiar, is up around the Cub area.
Nope.
Meadowview.
That's Meadowlands Park,
Meadowlands.
actually. This is this is near the Otter Lake Regional Park, the dog park.
Yep, off of Otter
Oh,
Lake Road.
Yep,
Yeah,
gotcha.
off of Otter Lake Road north there.
That's why I need the address.
It was park put in when the Brandlewood development was put together, which is,
Yep. So it's been in place for a good 30 years. Up for a redo. So this is the plan this year. We're proposing to remove one of the existing playground structures, take out plastic borders, take out the existing surfacing, which is both wood fiber and sand, depending on where you are, leaving some of the structures there, and then adding several items here, which are, this is the proposal from Northland Recreation here. Again, focusing on this part, this is the new part of the playground. There's an existing climbing boulder over here that will stay. A smaller, younger kid play structure that is not that old. The swing set will stay in place there. We'll change out one of the swings. We'll provide full handicapped accessibility with concrete padding, concrete under here with poured in place surfacing for protection, adding a couple of benches, replacing the benches here and here. And then the one thing that the Park Board wanted to, and then relocating the existing spring riders, Park Board wanted to make sure, based on input from the supervisors, we cover the whole gambit of people in the neighborhood. So a couple pieces of adult exercise equipment were also recommended and proposed by Northland. The Park Board had, a suggestion to change a couple of those pieces. Bottom line is the proposal, which had a budget of $80,000, is increased up to $86,856. The overage, well, the town's general fund will cover the $80,000 expenditure as proposed, and the overage is recommended from the Park Board to come from the Park Acquisition and Development Fund, which is okay. as far as an expenditure into new park equipment. So the park board recommendation from their meeting last week was to move forward with the proposal with a couple different pieces of exercise equipment as spelled out in the proposal for an amount not to exceed $86,856.
You have a timeline on this one, Tom?
Would be this summer. And this is all being, would all be done by professional consultants. The town's public works staff would not be involved. We've had them involved in some demolition in the past or some finish work, seating, but found it's just very time consuming. Those guys are pretty busy, so we've
The
asked
park
them-
still stay open during the construction, or is it shut down?
We'll shut down the playground,
Okay.
but the remainder of the park, which is basically open space, will stay open.
Yeah, got any questions?
Just again, what was the total amount with the changes now? Approve the upgrade to 86,000?
86,856 is what I have.
The beauty of a lot of these projects is that, you know, the neighborhood is asked for input on what needs to stay or leave, and so they were satisfied with some of the things. It's just awful expensive to upgrade our parks, but they need to make them accessible. So, no, I think we've done the best we can with that site. It's got a lot of neighborhood action going on there, and we did get our input, so I'm comfortable with it, So I'll make motion based on the park board and staff review and recommendations, approve the upgrades to Brandlewood Park. And do we need to put the dollar down? I mean, you said 86,856.
Yeah.
So that would be the total.
Is that a not to exceed?
Always.
Sure, always. The rest comes
will-
out of your pocket.
I will
Okay.
second that.
Except for the out-of-the-pocket thing.
Skip that part. So not to exceed $86,856.
All right, motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, item 8F, the FEMA Loma. Sounds like a novel. You might have to explain that, Tom.
Oh, boy. Okay. In the 1990s, the township adopted a policy that would assist residents who are finding that their properties are being declared within the flood zone. This is a FEMA federal program. It's for insurance purposes. Properties are rated based on how far they are from wetlands, lakes, et cetera. A number of properties in the town that abut lakes or wetlands, of which portions of the lot are in the wetland or jut out into the lake in a couple of rare cases. But the homes themselves were all required to be constructed at least 2 or lately 3 feet above the 100-year high water elevation or the water table. So from our perspective, none of these homes are in the flood zone, even though they're being flagged. The maps, which were last amended in '85, were amended again in 2010 based on a number of requests for letter of map amendments. So when the map is amended, it's done on an individual property basis by this letter of map amendment request. So individual properties fill out forms which are sent to FEMA with some elevation information, which would generally have to be provided by a surveyor. That information is submitted to FEMA. FEMA does their review, and typically, in all cases, they've declared these homes outside the flood zone, and the map is amended accordingly. We've done over 200 of these things. Lately, there's not been as many, but they're seeming to be a little bit more complicated. The town charges a fee of $150, which basically covers some of the costs to have TKDA, our consulting engineer and surveyors, go out and shoot the elevations and fill out the paperwork. And that is sent to the town offices or the property owner, and they sign it and just ship it off to FEMA. So it's a nice package that the town provides for $150. The actual cost, probably closer to $500. The town has historically subsidized these things. Just putting this on the agenda for consideration if we want to raise the fee. It hasn't been raised since it was initiated back in the early 90s. And just throwing that out for town board consideration, to change the policy and amend the fee would be a suggestion.
As part of your work, you've surveyed other communities we're not the only ones that do this. And our current rate is where in relation to what you're finding?
Pat did some surveying today. I have not done any recently, but I can for you.
Hugo's at 1,000 to perform the same service. Stillwater, I believe, is at 450. Those are the two that I got responded that are in the immediate area. I did not hear back from the city. I would suggest that Tom's numbers for our staff time, as it applies to this, at around $500 would probably be a good starting point.
I think Lino Lakes was mentioned in here as 1,000 too, so.
Yep.
You know, I think it's well worth our time to look at these and adjust them as time goes on instead of losing money. It's not the issue here. So I'm okay with raising, 500 sounds like a reasonable approach.
Yeah, I think that's a fair number, and we were talking earlier before, if it turns out to be still completely out of the realm of what is being offered around us, we can adjust it again. I think one of the projects that we have lined up for this fall is evaluation of our ordinances and fees in general. But this is, I think, at least a timely one that we should adjust.
Well, I think the town's always had a policy of working with the residents and trying to make this a smooth, procedure, but it gets to the point where we can't subsidize them and make the rest of the residents pay for these applications. So we at least have to cover our costs.
Yes.
Whatever those costs are, we at least have to cover that.
I don't think we're going to be making anything on $500. I think we are going to be flat.
I don't know, Scott, you said, I think utilities looked at this, public utilities?
We did, but I think it was presented to them just as FYI only. So we had not asked for any input.
Okay.
But one item I was noticing was Lino is mentioned here, but they charge a certain fee, and if there's any overage, it's returned. So is that a alternative, rather than say, let's see what 500 is and adjust it again? That way we know that we should pretty well have our.
So set it higher, and if there's any
Yeah, that's a
back,
really-
we just adjust it.
That's a good point. I think
Yeah.
that's probably a better way of going after this. Because we don't know, because these fees seem to change every second.
My question, though, would be, would that be additional work for the staff to keep track of the money and issue a check?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I knew that sounded funny. Compared to the fact that we would be sure to cover our costs without having to do additional research.
I think it's a good premise, but I think we would be adding additional work and steps if we ratcheted it up. I think the number of 500 is a good place to start, and if we have to adjust it, we will.
But then it comes back for another resolution and another,
Well,
so.
Well, it hasn't been adjusted in 25 years. We've subsidized it for a long time. I think if you want to make a resolution that requires a higher fee, I think you're well within your right to do so. But keep in mind too that that's going to be a shock, much higher than $500 right off the bat to anybody that's considered this.
And these are starting to dwindle away too. We may not see one for when.
What was that?
For a while, but
They're
we've had
kind
a
of going
couple.
away too. We don't see a lot of them,
Yeah,
so.
we've had a couple recently, so it's.
but over the course of a year, how many do you get?
Lately, I would say.
With all the rain coming
Less
down.
than 5.
The real issue, it goes way back, and correct me if I'm wrong, the FEMA maps, when they were done in the 40s, a lot of it was considered wet.
Yep.
And we live in a wetland, and a lot of our township has been developed, so there probably is not a ton more. We've made a lot of adjustments
Yep.
for neighborhoods over the years. The area I lived in had to be looked at and mapped once upon a time, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
But the costs have changed. I agree that $500 is, if it hasn't been adjusted in a long time, is probably a reasonable sum. And I'd still think we should amend it to And then if it, document as we get better at it to see if it's changes, but there is not a lot of activity, but it's necessary to be ready to do this if we get called upon. And I don't know what area we'd be called upon, because we're mainly developed. We're about 98% developed.
We are.
So we may be putting a change for very little reason, but it covers our costs.
So does that, do we have a kind of a unanimous 500? Works
Yep.
close enough?
That's fine.
All right, anything else, Tom?
No, primarily what we're seeing now is homes that have not refinanced since the 90s or have sold, have been in the same ownership for many, many years. These are the ones that are getting hit now with the LOMA requests.
Sure.
So this resolution, we are just going to, on page 71, we're going to fill in this
Yep.
resolution number 3, the fee of $500.
Yep.
Correct.
So we'll make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Yep.
Okay, so based on the staff review and recommendation, adopt the resolution amending the policy, providing township assistance to property owners to modify the FEMA flood maps and establish the fee of $500 needed to,
Recoup
establish the
costs?
fee of $500 for costs.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's made second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. 8G, Town Engineer, lift station and rehabilitation. Can you take that one, Larry?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was off on my agenda items. All right, on January 23rd, the town board approved a resolution authorizing plans and specifications for lift station number 9 rehabilitation. This is the last of 10 lift stations that need upgrades to current standards. The plans are now complete, and the upgrades will include upgrades to the control panel, pumps, rails, valves, communication equipment, force main, and access road, or access driveway. The driveway is off of, or the location of this lift station is off Otter Lake Road, and it's got an angled approach for the lift station, so straightening out the access, as well as widening it along the county road to make it safer. The plans are complete. I have a set of plans here if anyone wishes to look at them, plans and specifications. Getting ready to bid out the work. So tonight's actions are looking at approving the plans and specifications and authorizing advertisements for bids for lift station number 9.
There's no wetland work involved, is there?
This is surrounded by wetlands right off of.
But I mean, are we getting into them at all with any of this? So Valamo's not involved, or, okay. All right, Scott, got anything?
Nope.
Steve?
No.
All right, so you want two motions here, Larry, one to approve the plans and one to authorize advertising for bid?
Sure, yeah.
I'll move based on the town engineer review and recommendation, approve the plans and specifications.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion's made second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and then authorization?
Based on town engineer review and recommendation, authorize advertisement for bids.
Second that.
Would that be immediate then, Larry? This goes out right away then?
Yeah, we're looking at bringing it back, I think it's in here, June 17th
Right.
to the board for those bids, bringing
Right.
those bids back.
Motion's made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on. Item H, the GIS, authorized step 2 of the implementation.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. On April 10th, we provided a letter kind of outlining all the steps for GIS and asset management to get our assets mapped and establishing a GIS database for our public works staff to be able to more quickly access information relating to items in the field such as manholes, hydrants, pipes, networks. And we outlined 6 steps to bring the system into place and used for public works. On that April 10th meeting, you authorized step 1 for general setup and mapping conversion. That work is nearing completion, and we are looking to move on to step 2, which is populating some of the attributes in the GIS system.
Larry, you want to stop and just explain
Sure.
GIS? Just
Sure.
for the audience.
Yes, GIS is a geographic information system, and it's a computerized database of in this case, our assets that will allow for field personnel to use a tablet to access information about certain assets such as manholes and hydrants. The current operation is to use institutional memory or maybe have to run back and forth to the office to get plans and documentation regarding assets, and to document basically with paper at the moment or in spreadsheets.
Which the township has 12,000 of them, so.
12,000.
Very cumbersome.
Assets in the community. So this provides a computerized database that can be accessed in the field to retrieve information, which is especially helpful in emergencies, to gather information quickly and respond to issues in the field. So again, the kind of the step 1 was we did have mapping. We did have mapping in CAD, AutoCAD, but that accuracy was not that accurate. So using what the step 1 did was to convert that CAD information into a GIS database, which is more accurate. And so that work has been done. We are continuing to work with staff on creating the right attributes for each of the items that we would inventory. So the next step would be to enter the specific data, such as the year of installation, the type of asset it is, the elevations of the asset, as much information as we can from the engineered drawings that have been prepared when the initial install had taken place for that asset. So it's reviewing engineering drawings and putting in as much information into the database as we can. It's also providing a link and linking each manhole or each asset to that engineered drawing. So it's providing a link, so when you click on that asset, you can also click on a link to see the engineered drawings from when it was originally constructed. So tonight, we're looking for authorization to begin that step 2. I should note that our firm recently hired an engineering intern that will be trained properly and utilized for this activity to keep costs down. I also should note that step 3 is hardware and software purchase. This Thursday, Township staff as well as TKDA staff will be visiting a local vendor to review some of the certain hardware packages that are around to try to determine which hardware we could use for future steps, including the field gathering of data. So just to mention that on Thursday, Township staff will be kind of doing a demo of certain types of hardware to find the right fit for this community. So again, we're looking for some authorization here to begin step 2 in our 6-step process.
All right, questions?
I see a comment here that over the next 2 months, over the course of 2 months, should be able to complete step 2, or is that to get it going?
That would be to complete step 2. It's not a huge volume of work.
Okay.
And in the meantime, while we're looking at completing step 2, we want to also bring a software package to the board, or a hardware package to the board for approval, so we can move on then to kind of the field work later this summer, using, again, that engineering grad while he's still around before he goes back to school, to gather as much field information as we can for these assets. As that would be a future step that we'd bring to the board for approval.
Now, obviously, some of these steps are overlapping anyway, so.
Yeah.
And I guess then just looking ahead to the next step, where you said that you're actually looking at the hardware, annual licenses could vary quite a bit depending on the number. Annual payment could vary quite a bit depending on the number of licenses. Have you thought much about how many people would be actually licensed to use this? Has that been considered much from staff's perspective?
We would have to at least get 2, I would assume, for both Dale and Pete to be.
We were thinking 2 to start with, and we can see where things go.
Oh, and then ratchet it up from there? Okay.
If
All right.
need be, yep. But Pete and Dale would be our initial users.
Okay.
Steve?
It's all part of the larger,
Picture.
data retention picture, so this is a big one.
Yeah, you mentioned the 12,000 individual assets, but you didn't kind of mention that it's $180 million in
Yeah.
worth of property. That's
So
in
we should
today's
really,
dollars.
should really keep inventory on it.
We should keep tabs on what we got.
Yeah, this is a vital move forward.
Oh, I know,
We're
yes.
not inventing the new wheel here, so.
The other question I had was, eventually, when we go around again in 10 years and we have to submit a new comprehensive plan, would this assist when the Met Council comes back and says they want to have all these revisions? Could you more quickly pull that information together for them?
Yeah, we would have the electronic mapping in hand versus going to a consultant. So, yeah, that'll be very helpful.
Okay.
Well, then maybe they should subsidize us for this cost, so we can make their job easier.
I believe they already brought up GIS
Good luck.
in their questioning for
Well played.
for this plan, so
Can't wait to send them a bill.
make sure Ed's name is attached to
okay.
that, would you? So,
All right, no more questions, looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion based on town engineer's review and recommendation, authorize TKDA to proceed with step 2 of the GIS and asset management implementation for an amount not to exceed $19,500 with funding from the Capital Equipment Fund.
And I will second that.
All right, motion's made second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on. 8I, Improvement 2019-3 update.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chair and board members. There's no action with this item. We just want to give an update on the 2019 street improvements and really the schedule, and also put one more public service announcement out there regarding some upcoming meetings. And so at your last board meeting, you approved the preparation of plans and specifications for the street improvements, and that work is underway at the moment. But some upcoming meetings that are coming up as soon as even just after Labor Day, May 28th at 8:30 at Otter Lake Elementary School will be.
6:30?
I'm sorry, 6:30 at Otter Lake Elementary School will be our neighborhood meeting regarding the 2019 street improvements, and those areas include the Hobie area, White Bear Parkway, or the Weston Woods area, and Parkview Drive and Fenway Court. And so we will have a meeting kind of discussing the findings of our feasibility report and prepping people for the public hearing.
Sorry, just real quickly, the White Bear Parkway goes, just
Yes.
because that's a long parkway, so just.
I'm sorry, yes, it's
Like-
from Oakmead to the east to Otter Lake.
Thank you.
Yes.
And will there be a mailer going out to all?
There has been a
affected
mailer
Already
sent.
did.
Okay.
Yep.
last Thursday went out.
Sorry.
So look for that if you're a resident in those areas. So May 28th is the neighborhood meeting, and then the public hearing is on June 4th at 6:30 at, again, Otter Lake Elementary School. And that public hearing is property owner's opportunity to speak to the board regarding the project. Looking to bring those plans and specifications back on June 17th and also advertise for bids on June 17th. We haven't set exact date for opening bids, but early July, and bringing those bids back to the board July 15th, and beginning construction kind of the end of July, early August for this mill and overlay project. Later in September, work is either wrapping up or underway, determining the amount to be assessed. We'd have another neighborhood meeting to discuss assessments, and then have an assessment hearing in October. Wrapping up construction in October as well. So wanted to give an update on that. We also have, our staff has put in on the website information regarding this project. And so on the homepage, if you look at the scrolling messages, you click on the current projects link, and it'll bring you to the current and future projects page. And on that page is a 2019 street project that they can click on and get information, including a lot of the background documents, including the feasibility report that was prepared. Also on that site is the overall pavement management booklet that we prepared and you approved in January. So just wanted to give that kind of the public service announcement to folks one last time before that neighborhood meeting occurs on May 28th.
And we've actually had people contact us about what we've got, or if we've got anything on the website, so they're paying attention, and it's been very handy.
Has the cable cast been confirmed for that public hearing, so they're available on that June 4th?
I will look
I
into
mean, if that's
that.
a public hearing,
Yep.
they're gonna need to be there.
Yep.
So just for my education, perhaps, what's the difference between a neighborhood meeting and a public hearing?
It was just basically to sit and informally talk with the engineer. The public hearing is we're gonna be there to answer questions.
Yeah.
I guess, what is June 4th?
That is a Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just getting at then, I'm pretty sure we have to have that publicly casted or on,
It already was.
okay.
Yeah.
The neighborhood meeting is one that we may or may not have, we don't necessarily have to
No.
attend that, that's.
No,
fine with you, but-
no actions taken at
Yeah,
the neighborhood
so
meeting.
it's just,
We're informing the property owners about the project. We want to try to answer as many questions at that neighborhood meeting, so those questions don't bog down the public hearing. We want to educate people so they can bring an informed perspective to the public hearing.
for the board's purpose, if we have to probably decide by Friday if who's going to attend, if, we have to call a special meeting if we.
The public
show-
hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, the neighborhood meeting.
Yeah, we already called
We
for
did
both.
that.
Yeah.
I
Did we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't
Oh,
remember.
yeah.
I think Scott read it.
Well, there you go.
Efficient, man, he gets this stuff done.
All right, bad mark for me. There's too many things to listen to.
All right, that it, Larry?
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks. Okay, moving on, under general business, 8J, we got the Administrative and Public Works Building landscaping.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, and just for future reference, I guess I don't know what the procedure has been in the past and whether I should have even submitted the language for your approval, or if in the future you just want us to take this language and go out to bid with it. But, just to be safe, I do have the language here for the work that we'd like to have done in terms of landscaping on the administrative offices for the township. We do have money set aside through Tom's budget, or the township's budget, in our capital improvement program. And I'm looking for a blessing for this language to go forward with an RFP.
I You're specifically asking about the document on page 86? Is that's the language you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
RFP is what for proposal?
Request for proposal, request.
Request for proposal.
Yep.
All these acronyms. I just have a question on your little scope of work here.
Yeah.
It says remove and dispose of all landscape rock. We're just gonna trash all that, or is there a way of saving that?
On the pavement management program.
Fill in a
We need some
pothole.
fill.
You
But
want
it
it,
seems
Larry?
like that's some pretty decent rock sitting out there. Can we use it somewhere else? I mean, I hate to see it just going.
We are going to get suggestions or recommendations from whomever the firm is that ends up being awarded the contract, what we should do with the rock, or if we should just keep it. We're not sure yet.
Okay, because I mean, even around the Public Works building, I mean, that's
The
expensive stuff we're gonna be just
the rock
dumpstering.
stuff there has value. The green,
Well, then, I'm sure the retaining
the
walls.
greenery, not so much.
The retaining walls, you're not gonna be able to save.
Yeah. So we're gonna pull a lot of the stuff that's dead or dying, and evaluate what we want to do with the rocks, or just keep them. We're not sure yet. We're
Oh,
open.
and put them back down. Oh, I thought you were just gonna replace it with something else.
No, we don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
All right, anything else on this?
No.
That? All right, so you want a formal motion on this, moving on with this proposal?
Please do so, sir.
Well, I'll be the green thumb. Based on staff review and recommendation, approve the RFP, request for proposal, and authorize staff to solicit proposals for landscaping renovation of both the administration and public work sites.
A second?
I'll second that.
Motion's made second, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?
Thank you.
All right, that's still something this year too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, new carpeting, new paint. new
Security, landscaping, yeah.
Hot tub, pool. Oh, that's
Strike.
All right, item K under general business, solicitor's license request.
Yes, Mr. Chair, did you want, or this is just being submitted to the board's review to approve or disapprove of this company soliciting within the township. Their actual license would go into effect as soon as you have approved it. For 30 days, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so it'd be 30 days from when we approve it.
Yes.
This is Window Concepts of Minnesota.
Yep.
Now, they weren't licensed with us last year, were they?
No, they're licensed within the city of White Bear Lake. Patty did some background check on them through the city and found that there were no issues about them operating within White Bear Lake.
And they are aware of our policy of badging and times and all that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now, there is a concern on who would be driving, because there is how do I say this?
After some additional background checks, there's a concern about.
There's some driving issues with citations on some of these folks, so I don't know if they will submit to who's driving and what they're driving. I know they have on their deal here what their vehicles are. I know we've ran into this before where only one person was driving the van. They would drop people off and they would come back to the van. So I think that's something that has to be clarified with them. I don't see that as a problem from stopping tonight's action, but it needs to be at least verified on the license application, who is in charge and whose motor vehicles are being used.
What, Chad, do you want to answer that, or would you like me to?
No, I think it's a good question. I think it's a good idea. We should just condition, well, I wouldn't condition so much as request that they provide the name of who is going to be driving the vehicles.
So we would
And
have
that give the
designated,
town,
we would have designated drivers and vehicle descriptions?
yes,
So we would have the right to approve that?
yes,
Designate the authority to the township.
yes, to town staff.
And obviously, it's only a concern because some of the driving records on these are the most stellar, so we want to make sure that who's ever
Safety.
operating in the township is more than qualified, so.
Yes.
All right, any other discussion?
No.
All right, that's something that can be handled at staff.
Sure.
Yes, it
level
could.
then?
Absolutely.
Once they give us some names. All right, so I'd be looking for a motion for the solicitor's license approval.
I'll make a motion to authorize the issuance of a solicitor's license to Windows Concepts of Minnesota, Inc., 291 Eva Street, Minnesota. Eva Street, Minnesota. I don't know if that's such a street. You know that? They must have an address, a city.
Good
Have it.
catch.
Anybody know? St. Paul. Okay. So I'll change that. So it says the authorized issuance of a solicitor's license to Windows Concept of Minnesota, Inc., 291 Eva Street, St. Paul, Minnesota, subject to the following individuals
And subject to
and subject to,
staff review of designated drivers and vehicles.
so noted. The individuals are Richard Brambink, Carrie Husnick, William Petka Jr., and Brandel Jewell, and only during the hours of, as listed on the material, from Monday to Thursday, 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., and no Sunday solicitation. And no solicitation shall be allowed on property displaying a sign stating "No peddlers, solicitors, or transit merchants," or a comparable statement.
I will second that.
All right, motion's made and seconded, and all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, all opposed? That motion carries.
Thanks, folks.
All right, we have no added agenda items. We have some open time. Students? You guys want to get up to the podium and, no?
Okay. But you'd be the only ones that did.
Yep.
Yeah, because none of them
Me
do.
first.
Other students have said the same thing. No.
But just one thing I would like to mention, though, our thoughts and prayers go out to Chad Lemon's
Thank you very
family.
much.
He lost his father last week, so hang in there. I know,
Thank you.
it'll pass, but a lot of memories.
That's true.
All right, item number 11, receipt of agenda material supplements.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Scott finally stepped up and made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:19.
Bring your papers up.